All right, so let's talk about halftime, because that's where the real battle took out. Bad Bunny, which sadly I took German in high school.
Right.
I have no idea what he was saying. He did the whole thing in Spanish, which is an interesting choice, being that we're on our 250th birthday.
Right.
You would think it would be a little bit more all-American, red, white, and blue, but it wasn't. That was the choice they made. I was just glad not to.
Of viewers. It was headlined by Kid Rock. We had him on the show on Friday. 10 million watched across live channels and more than 25 million views on social platforms.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. You know, I always say that whenever you decide to do a performance or anything, even if you're just doing morning show TV, you can take risk, but you're there to serve your audience. I'm not here to serve CNN or MSNBC's morning show. I'm here to serve our viewers, and you got to look at the demographics that you're going after, and it looks like Turning Point was able to get some of those people to switch the dial and turn over to their performance.
And the big story was Kid Rock in shorts. That was
right.
Yeah.
Kid Rock, Brantley Gilbert. Brantley Gilbert will be on with us shortly. Lee Brice was fantastic. Debuted a brand new song, and I could understand the words. He decided they all sung in English. That was a big break for me.
Kid Rock,
Gabby Barrett too.
Kid Rock sang this song at the very end, and I loved the last verse. And now you can download it. I just found it on my Apple Music, and it's called "Till You Can't." It was originally performed by Cody Johnson, but he added a lyric. He said he woke up on one Sunday morning and God was telling him to add another verse to the song. It's about dusting off your Bible, how Jesus went to the cross for you. The song is awesome because it talks about if you've got a second chance, or you've got while you have a chance, take it. Like, fall in love. Go redo your car with your grandfather. Don't keep that in the garage and wait until the last minute when you don't have that chance anymore. And he talks about, enjoying time with your family, following your goals, and about following your dreams. It's a really, really great song.
That was extremely dramatic. That was very, very dramatic. UFC fight between Bad Bunny and Kid Rock. And we all know how that wound out last night. Today is Monday, February 9th, 2026. We changed culture last night with the Turning Point halftime show. Joining us right off the top is Jack Posobiec to talk about it. Let's freaking go. Yo, Jack, hey, thanks for joining us in the car, man. Yeah, well, I don't know if you like, I think that was a very good description of what happened last night. Kid Rock versus Bad Bunny, UFC knockout.
I watched that. I was like, man, I didn't realize the tail of the tape was going to go. But, this really was a moment where Americans had a choice. And Benny, you promoted the heck out of this. And I know so many of us, the friends of Charlie that knew him, we knew that Charlie always talked about the Super Bowl show. He always talked about culture. That's why he always supported everything that the Benny Show was doing in terms of taking back the culture, fighting for cultural wins. And I know there were a lot of people saying, oh, why are you doing a Super Bowl, a halftime thing? Like, what does that have to do with anything? And I think all those people are very, very quiet now because they realized that Americans didn't want politics. They wanted something that just showed them that, you know what? It's totally cool and actually good to just be an American, to have something that's good, clean, family fun. And then, yes, at the very end, not only a tribute to our fallen friend, but also a proclamation of the gospel, proclaiming the name of Jesus, a show and a moment that we're absolutely ordained and bringing people to Christ. And look, I got to say, having been there and in a small capacity, welcoming everybody in, and I was brought to tears in that moment. I was absolutely brought to tears. I didn't know he was going to do that. And when he went there, I just broke down, man. I just totally
So
broke down. It was
Kid Rock
incredible.
just like from his heart, just like started preaching the gospel.
Kid Rock of all people, like I'm sitting there, I'm like, is this the same Kid Rock from, like ball with the, and he played ball with the ball, but I liked what they did because artistically, right, that's why he did the 2 introductions. And people noticed that it's like they introduced him as Kid Rock, then he went away, then Antonio and Allison came out, incredible, by the way, the violin cello piece, just so beautiful. And then they reintroduce him. Hey, this is Robert Ritchie. So it shows that path. It shows that redemption arc, that salvation arc. Like, here's a guy, girls and rock and roll and drugs and drinking, whatever else. And now it's like, no, now we're moving to Jesus. Now we're moving to the real stuff. Now we're moving to the deep stuff. And honestly, that stuff that they were singing about, go fishing with your dad, go work on that 65 Chevy or the Pontiac, go work, go spend time with your kids. It's all about, again, faith, family, freedom. That's what we've been fighting for. And that's all people wanted to see. And the numbers speak for themselves that there is a massively underserved portion of this country that hasn't seen a halftime show like that, not just in years, in decades.
What's the tail of the tape, Jack? Like, what's the numbers gonna shake out to be? Is it gonna be 40 million viewers?
So this is what people need to know, is that the 25 million number that has come out already, that's just from the main YouTube and Rumble stream. So that's just crunching the numbers there. We've already got just YouTube alone, Turning Point's main stream, 6.17. And the 17 is significant because the previous number 2 YouTube live stream of all time was 6.15. So that's the number 2 live stream in all of YouTube history. Incredible. The number 1 in terms of entertainment, because the first one was actually the Indian lunar probe. So number 1 in terms of entertainment on all of YouTube in all of the platforms' history. I can't even, it boggles the mind to even think about those kind of numbers. And then we haven't even sat there. Andrew and I were chatting about this last night. We might see 40, we might see 50. The sky is really the limit because we have so many partners. And then we haven't even got into X, and so many people were restreaming it and putting it out there. So yeah, we are going to see a staggering number of views on this. And it's something where, and I'm sure you heard as well, that the entertainment industry and the advertisers are very, very worried about this. And Cliff Maloney had a source inside NFL Networks who said they are freaking out over the size of this audience.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Because what it does is it ultimately shows that you've lost the culture war, that the NFL has decided to sabotage and betray their own fans, to do a program that is not in English, that has third world aesthetics, that's open borders messaging, LGBT messaging, woke propaganda. And I think the greatest sin of them all, you can't even listen to it. It's like mumble rap, but Spanish, and no songs that anybody knows. All the videos coming out from the stands, Jack, like shows people standing like statues. Nobody was into it. Nobody liked this. And so, like, I know we're up against a hard out, but can you tell me, like, what does this mean culturally for the zeitgeist of the NFL? I mean, I think that this, like this whole Jay-Z partnership has been a massive failure. I think this has exposed woke corporations, even worse than the Bud Light boycott. I think that this is like so much worse than even Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light.
Look, there's been a lot of rumors going around that there might even be advertisers now because of remember, $10 million just for 30 seconds up on the Super Bowl, but you are guaranteed a certain number of ratings. There are going to be a lot of people picking up phones right now to their Fifth Avenue advertising firms, all the marketing directors of every, company that put up an ad there saying, how many people were watching during that spot when my ad ran? Because we might be talking rebates, we might be talking refunds, we might be talking the rest of it. This is money. This is economic warfare. Hit them where it hurts. That's why Bud Light, and you saw what Bud Light was doing last night, by the way, if you watched their ad, right? Back to the Dalmatians, the Clydesdales, all the pro-Americana, because they're still hurting from the effects of Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light. And they're trying to build back that market share, but they haven't been able to do it. And so what the NFL and all the advertisers are going to do and put pressure on to say, hey, you guys have this is a conservative Christian organization, and they're putting up numbers that rival yours. And I notice, I'll just say this, Benny, this shows we've totally split, where wokeness is left in the past. Wokeness is left in the dust. People don't want it. They want one America. They want one flag. They want one national anthem. We're sick of the nonsense. And you saw Bad Bunny around. I did actually go back and watch. I watched this thing at like 2x. It was really weird. But with like all the flags, and it was just mumble rap. There's no choruses. There's literally no choruses at all. And don't tell me it's political. Don't tell me, by the way, that it's not political when he's running around with all of these flags saying, we have this one and this one and this one, and we're all America. Like, excuse me? No. What do you mean we're all America? No, the United States of America. Okay, don't do that like woke. Oh, technically America's a continent. No, stop, just stop. It's a joke. And I'll tell you this: why is the NFL being so quiet as to what the number was during Bad Bunny? Why haven't they put that out immediately? You'd think that if the numbers were good, they would have put it out right away. Here we are.
Yeah. For Kendrick, they did it like instantly. For Kendrick, they did it instantly. And then they put it up on YouTube. I noticed that on YouTube, they put it up and they ran it like well past midnight Eastern Standard Time. And they get it up there. And it has like maybe 1.4 million views is the last number that I saw. Turning Point halftime show has 20 million views. So this is, of course, 20x the size, just based on the YouTube platform alone.
No, it's incredible. And Benny, it's amazing. I do have to run, but This was an incredible win. I want to thank you for everything that you did to promote this. I don't think a lot of people got behind it. Benny Johnson did. That is definitely going to be remembered. And we did it, man. We did it, and we're going to do it again. And we are going to keep doing it. That's what people have to understand.
Really quickly, end with this. Yes, end with this. What is going to happen next, Jack? Is this going to happen every year?
We're just gonna go bigger. We're gonna do what Charlie would have said. Charlie, because we all know, right? You would have gotten the call. I would have gotten the call last night that if Charlie were around, he would have called us up and he would have said, "Next year, 10 times bigger,
50 times harder."
Yep,
50 times harder. That's what he goes. Yep,
that's Charlie.
Yep, 50 times harder. Oh, we got hit. We're down. Joe Biden stole an election. 50 times harder. We go 50 times harder.
That's Charlie Kirk.
I'll end with this, Jack. The people who know Charlie the best know that he loves football, and he was obsessed. He was obsessed with winning culture. He was obsessed with Turning Point, like going and doing alternative things to win culture and to play in their arena, to go on attack. And so, like, I don't think I've seen actually a more beautiful, mechanized tribute to Charlie's vision actually than this. And so you deserve
positive.
You deserve so much credit. And I was expecting you to take the stage last night. The whole time I was watching, like, where's Jack? Jack was already on stage. He introduced everyone. He's clearly going to come out and ball with the ball. Like, he's going to come out with Kid Rock. I was expecting it. I knew it. You would have come with the flamethrower. So next year, Jack, I'm going to be there and I'm going to force you to do it.
All right. Here's what we'll do. I'll go play bass, but I don't know. Maybe we can ask the chat. Should I trust Benny Johnson with a flamethrower and that close to everybody?
Chat, what do you think? Chat, what do you think, man? They're loving it. They're loving it, Jack.
Elon's got the flamethrowers. We'll get some of those.
They're loving it, Jack. The chat's melting down. I just popped them on screen. Can you shout out the chat and thank them for watching? And then you gotta go.
Shout out the chat. Shout out to all the Patriots. God bless everyone. I know you had to be tech support for your parents and grandparents and your normies out there yesterday. We did it. Patriots stood in the gap. We sent a message. The entire world is looking at it. And the chat of the Benny Show, the Patriots here, played a huge part in that. God bless, guys. I really do have to run.
Thank you, Jack. See you, bro. Gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching last night. What a rowdy and exciting moment for the country. What a victory for all of us. We also have Mark Mitchell on the program, and Jack had to run. He's got school. That's school for his kids. Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen Reports will be joining us in just a moment to talk some polling on America and where we are as a country to keep our energy up as we talk about exactly what happened last night, because what happened last night was more culturally relevant than I think many people realize. Our energy this morning coming from Cowboy Colostrum. Cowboy Colostrum I have inside of my coffee, right here, right there. The old vintage mug here. It is a wonderful source of energy. It's a wonderful way to keep your gut healthy. It's an incredible way to stay stronger. Cowboy Colostrum is one of the highest quality bovine That's cow colostrums in the United States. Cowboy colostrum is made with 100% American cows, grass-fed cows. It is whole, full fat, high in protein, ultimate nutrient density. One of the highest bovine colostrums that you can buy. Cowboy colostrum is easy to drink and it's delicious. I have the vanilla colostrum in my coffee this morning. Cowboy colostrum helps bring stability to your gut, peptides, and growth factors. Makes your skin look amazing. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off their entire order. Head to cowboycolostrum.com/Benny. Use the code Benny at checkout. That's 25% off when you use the code Benny. Cowboycolostrum.com/Benny. Let's go. Okay, so I want to just let's just go off the dome because I want to chat about how important last night was. And we had the numbers to back it up now. We've been promoting the Turning Point halftime show pretty much nonstop. We went up to go film promos with Kid Rock for it, along with a number of other things. And we just sort of put our shoulders in when a lot of people were making fun of it. A lot of people were saying, why would you do this? A lot of people were saying this isn't going to work, or it's going to be cringe, or whatever. But they were wrong. The Turning Point halftime show was a breaking point in culture. An actual turning point. It gives me chills to even talk about it and think about it. The reason why this is so important, and even if you, pop that up, please. Even if you don't like Kid Rock, or even if some of the bands weren't your favorite, which, by the way, it was like banger after banger after banger playing. No matter who you were, there was a song that made you tap your foot. The Turning Point halftime show, hopefully all of them. It was incredible. The reason why it is so culturally important is because this is a turning point. This is a fork in the road. There are two different visions of America that are on your screen right here. One vision of America is what legacy Americans would know and love. Flames, the American flag proudly displayed, bourbon, kind of like the smell of cigarette and cigar smoke. Okay, people having a good time, rock and roll music, country music, banjos being played, loud drums, and people vibing. Nothing but love, but pure patriotic grit. Rock and roll created in America, country music created in America, woven into the fabric of our legacy nation. When was the last time that a show like that appeared at the NFL? We actually did some research on this. 32 years ago, 1994. Was the last time that Travis Tritt played in the NFL halftime show. That's it. That was the last time. And I'm thinking, wait a second. Well, why isn't the NFL, who's supposed to be America's football, listen, other countries play baseball. It's not a knock against baseball, but there are Canadian baseball teams, in the major leagues. Other countries play basketball. Lots of countries play basketball. These are Olympic sports. There's not Olympic football. There's not a World Cup of football. It's called the National Football League. What nation does that mean? It's America. And this is American. Maybe it's not your aesthetic exactly. That's beautiful. Dude, it was awesome. Play that B-roll. Pop that up. Is that just B-roll event? Nah. It was just like the vibes were on point. It was good-hearted American fun. Now, you'd assume that the NFL, which probably 99% of its fan base are also fans of these artists, would align and lock in with that and say, we're going to make sure that those fans are served by our halftime show performance. It doesn't have to exactly be these artists, but how about throwing in a country artist here and there? I mean, it is the most popular genre of music in the nation because it's our genre of music. We created it. 32 years since a country act played the Super Bowl? How out of touch can you be with your fan base? Sure, there are fan bases that like Latin music or hip hop, but they've had plenty of that. We've had plenty of that at every single halftime show. I liken it to Bud Light. It's so much deeper and so much more important, but the principles are the same. Okay, the mechanisms are the same. With Bud Light, you have a light frat beer. It is a beer that old men, old Midwestern dudes with beer bellies sit in their lawn in creaky lawn chairs and they watch the Bug Zapper and the sunset from their back porch and they drink a Bud Light. That's what Bud Light had. That and frat bros. Cheap beer for fratty parties. Cool. In what universe do you think that a transgender in a bathtub drinking Bud Light, like taking your beer and literally making it bathwater for transgender Dylan Mulvaney, in what universe does that ever even remotely reflect your fan base, your customer base? And it's a tale as old as time that has to be constantly relearned, because wokeness is a mind virus and wokeness is a cancer, and it is a cancer that affects not only Bud Light. God, can you believe that this is actually real? It's like a fever dream that this actually happened. It looks like a caricature. It looks like an AI caricature. They did this. They destroy their brands in this perpetual pursuit of something that is totally made up. The modern audience, the modern customer, the hardcore, super queer, super woke, progressive, aesthetic that doesn't exist. The customer base isn't real. It doesn't exist. Your brand can't go and create bigger customer bases by betraying their core customers and trying to grasp at the wind as some mythical woke progressive alphabet consumer. That doesn't work. I don't know how many times you got to learn that, whether it's light beer, whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, Indiana Jones, pretty much anything that Disney's created over the last 10 years, and the vast majority of Hollywood. How many times must these lessons be learned? Cracker Barrel, a little company. At least the Dylan Mulvaney thing happened when Democrats controlled virtually all culture. The DOJ, the House, the Senate, there was sort of this, this massive effort to wokeify all of culture, right? At least they did it then. Cracker Barrel did their shift when Republicans controlled the House, when Donald Trump won in a landslide. Cracker Barrel. Your company is a cracker on a barrel. It's a white dude sitting on a barrel. That's your whole company. And they decided to throw that in the trash. And I think that's ultimately what this is. White people, Americans, are tired of being discriminated against. We're tired of having our culture thrown in the trash. We're sick of it. I say white people because it's the only group that's you can openly discriminate against. But all Americans, I think, I've seen actually a number of TikToks go viral. Can you get me that one with Terrence Williams? Where you have this black grandmother sitting there? Get me that right now. You have this black grandmother sitting there and she's watching it and it looks like this might be her last Super Bowl. And she's like, get off the stage. Get off the stage. Oh, beautiful. Play me this. Play me this. Let me show you exactly how unifying the hatred of the wokeification and the humiliation ritual, which is what this was, a humiliation ritual on American culture. That's what this was. Ultimately, this was a large-scale humiliation ritual taking our biggest game, our biggest moment, the biggest stage that Hollywood and the entertainment industry, those Satanists, those demon worshipers, those occultists can offer you, and they give it to somebody who hates America, who doesn't speak our language, who's a cross-dresser, who used his opportunity on that stage for divisive politics, open borders messaging, queer messaging, who used it as an opportunity to show a bunch of open degeneracy to your children. This is how unifying it was. Listen to this grandmother.
Who is this man? Golly. You can't sing. What is this? Golly. This is ridiculous. And got the American flag and all these other flags. And yeah, God bless you too. Get off the stage. Please get off the stage. Get off. Put the game back on.
Get out. I can't stand.
Tell me that.
I bet that lady would have loved some country acts. There are some great country acts out there. Absolute bangers. But instead, she's responding the same way that all of us responded. By the way, Klein, that was unbelievable how fast that clip was up. Jeez, amazing. Amazing. What is this exactly? What is this? What is this photo exactly? What the hell was this? I don't know if we have like kind of general, let's do like general B-roll, but like, yeah, the Bad Bunny ending is perfect. Let's go there. What was this ultimately? Ultimately, it was a humiliation ritual of your culture. If I had traveled back in time a decade ago and told you that the Super Bowl halftime show would be entirely in Spanish, with foreign flags being waved above the American flag, that the entire aesthetic of the Super Bowl halftime show would be third world filthy aesthetics, fruit stands, hawking jewelry, grunge or filth orgies, muddy orgies, like flickering neon lights in dingy stores, and that the final act of that halftime show at the Super Bowl was some filthy, untalented mumble rapper, Marxist Latino parroting Marxist Latin talking points that have for a generation, this is the same talking points that Castro used, for a generation said that Americans stole the name America, that all of Latin America is America, that they deserve open borders to our country because we're the true invaders. And this was Bad Bunny's final commentary. When Bad Bunny says, God bless America, he doesn't mean America. He doesn't mean our country. He means the continent of which he wants open borders for Latin people and Spanish-speaking people to come and loot the treasure of our nation and steal our birthright. That's what he means. That's what's going on here. This is what he said. If we could play with audio, just a minute.
God bless America.
He doesn't mean us. What does he do? He goes and lists all the nations that he considers America. This is who he considers America. See that? See how he listed every nation in the entire continent? That's what this was. And of course, with the cringe messaging in the background. It was a repulsive display of left-wing Marxism and globalism that they are trying to foist upon you. Of course, featuring Satan worshiper herself, Lady Gaga. You understand that Jay-Z, you understand that like the person who groomed Lady Gaga was Marina Abramovich. If you want to go back to the Epstein stuff, we can. Marina Abramovich groomed and tortured Lady Gaga. This was how Lady Gaga became an artist. She went through satanic ritual after satanic ritual. One time she was like stripped naked and like left in the woods. It was like physically tortured by Marina Abramovich. She talked about this. They talk about this openly. Spirit cooking dinners, everything, all of it. Marina Abramovich is also somebody that Jay-Z, who's in charge of the NFL halftime show, made out with on stage in one famous little skit that Jay-Z did, amplifying one of the world's foremost Satanists. And then here we are, the protege, Satanist protege of Marina Abramovich, dancing on stage. That's weird. The total and complete desecration of your culture. Is this a screenshot from yesterday? I don't know. You don't know. You have no idea. This is Bad Bunny, though, who again has often and regularly goes in drag 2 performances, has full performances as transgender. Here we go. This is what the NFL decided needed to be pumped into your home while your children were watching. These are all Bad Bunny. You're wondering if these Satanists like are controlling things. You wonder if that like are they even ashamed of the Epstein list? Is there any remorse at all for these people? No, of course not. So it's a practice in humiliation for our culture, and we needed to punch back. We needed to hit back. And that is why I'm so proud of the work that we did at Turning Point with this. I'm so proud of it. A lot of people doubted us, and a lot of people said it won't work. I'm telling you, man, I know my people. I know you. And there's a reason why if something bad happens to someone, then we're going to set up a GoFundMe. You know, like Jeannie, right? She was attacked for a Charlie Kirk shirt. A lady in Cincinnati gets hit. Heidi, she gets hit. Holly is her name. She gets punched and knocked out in the street. We raise money for her. Raise money for the church in Minneapolis. When people see something that makes them angry, they want to take an action. And luckily we live in like a very peaceful country, and people want to act out peacefully and protest. But conservatives, we don't often give ourselves the venue to go peacefully protest. The left does this all the time to get the let out for their people, but we never give ourselves alternatives because like too cocked. Republicans are too weak. So if there's something that bad happens, you know, we'll like go to East Palestine, we'll give out money, we'll set up a GoFundMe, we'll give people a pressure release valve. That's what we do on this program. I understand this about the human psyche. You know, our biggest viral hits are because like there's pressure that's been built up around COVID. Where did the virus come from? Jasmine Crockett, AOC, you know, Kim Klacik. Like these things go viral because people are like desperate for an alternative to the poison of popular culture. What they're trying to feed you, Bad Bunny. And so what we did was leverage that knowledge, knowing that that people will hate this Bad Bunny performance. They'll be insulted. We didn't know who Bad Bunny was, but like the moment that we heard that he was going to do the Super Bowl halftime show, we're like, okay, let's give him an alternative. Because what would have happened without the Turning Point halftime show? It would have just been a bunch of people complaining and bitching online. You need to give them something else. You need to give, it is our job as creators to create the alternative. That's what we did. We did the Super Bowl halftime show that the NFL should have done. And if they had done it, would have gotten enormous ratings. Meanwhile, Turning Point got all the ratings. At time of recording, the Bad Bunny video on YouTube has 1.4 million views. The Turning Point halftime show has 20 million views. 25 million views across all social media platforms. I think these are early preliminary numbers. 10 million people concurrently watching. You know, that pretty much makes it the most watched YouTube live stream of all time. That beats all other network broadcasts at the time. So all other network broadcasts were destroyed by this at 10 million viewers, except the NFL. And nobody ever said that we were going to beat the NFL's ratings. It is the Super Bowl after all. They've been doing this for 60 years. What we said was we were going to create the alternative. Look at this. Look at these numbers. Look at the people searching. These spikes in searches. The only halftime show that anyone was interested in was our halftime show at Turning Point. The data shows this. This is the only halftime show. Look at the Turning Point halftime show. Look at that. Look at the difference in size. Nobody cared about the Bad Bunny show. The NFL is humiliated over this. The numbers show the total and complete dominance, and more importantly, When you take a bite out of the Goliath that is the NFL, when you can take a piece off, in the words of, Leonidas, prove that a god can bleed. In 300, when he hits him with the spear, prove that you're just a mortal. That the world, to paraphrase Steve Jobs, is built by idiots. The world is created by people that are not smarter than you. They're not better than you. Just because they have the NFL and the Super Bowl doesn't mean you can't mog them, swagger jack them, drink their milkshake. And that's what we did. It's the Steve Jobs paradigm. The world is not made by smart people. It's made by dumb people. And you're smarter than them. And you can just go, you don't have to live inside their box. And what did we do? Well, created the alternative, not just for people watching at home, even for people watching inside of the Super Bowl. Check this out. There's a chick watching, there's the Bad Bunny Super Bowl performance going on. By the way, it literally looks like a border invasion. Has anybody ever deported a whole halftime show? Is that possible? Has, in the history of America, a halftime show been deported? Look at this chick. This chick is just vibing, listening to our programming, which, by the way, played actual hit songs, #1 hit songs. 7 #1 hit songs were played last night at the Super Bowl halftime show. And also, a call to Christ from an unlikely source, Kid Rock. Now, please grab me my Kid Rock promo, because I want to tell you that we warned you. We warned you. I went up to Kid Rock's house. We were filming some other content, and I went there and I said, get ready. Kid Rock is going to be, there it is. Yep. Kid Rock is going to be the one that I sent. Please, you can just pop up the tweet. He's going to be making this about Jesus. Did you catch the Easter egg here? Kid Rock. This is for the people who love America and who love Jesus. We told everyone what was about to happen. This is the most viral moment from the Turning Point halftime show last night. Here we go.
A book that's sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a book that's sitting in your house somewhere that could use some dusting off. There's a man who died for all our sins, hanging from the cross. You can give your life to Jesus, and he'll give you a second chance till you can't take it.
So proud to be part of this, man. You get chills, man. You get chills. Look at this TMZ poll. Who did better, Bad Bunny or Turning Point? Bad Bunny or Kid Rock? Who did better? Well, it's a live poll, Klein, so I guess we're going to have to vote. Which one do you think, Klein? You're going to have to click. Oh boy. 66-33. Well, if this were a presidential election, this would be 450 electoral votes. That's what this would look like. If this were a presidential election, this would be winning 40 states. Now, last night, this was at 85%. So they might have botted this a little bit, but it doesn't matter. 309,000 votes. 10 hours left on this poll. Woo! We won. We won. America first versus America last. The #2 most watched thing in the history of all of YouTube. The most watched entertainment performance in the history of all of YouTube. And President Trump, ladies and gentlemen, also sounding off. Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense. An affront to greatness of America. It doesn't represent our standards, success, creativity, excellence. Nobody understands what this guy is saying. And the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children watching throughout the USA and all over the world. Ooh, man. This show is a slap in the face to our country. Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. because that's what all this is. And that's why the fight against this is important. It's not just to rack up views. You know, like Turning Point didn't make money off this. We spent money on this. It's in order to fight back against the humiliation ritual that has been ongoing for your entire life and mine, trying to undermine American culture. And they pushed it too far last night. They pushed it too far with their repulsive third worldism, spitting in the face of our national identity and language, promoting and platforming this degenerate, this cross-dressing degenerate. But he didn't cross-dress. Look at this photo. Look at this photo. No. Look at this. This is the artist, the NFL. This is it. Oh, he just wore a white t-shirt. No, dude. The NFL knew exactly what they were getting into. This is an access point for you, your children. It's a gateway. They know precisely, these Satanists know exactly what they're doing. And the only thing that will make them stop is to punch them as hard as we possibly can, where it hurts the very, very most, which is their advertising dollars, which is the only thing that keeps all of it running. That's it. Without the ad dollars flowing, without the cultural value, they'll go elsewhere. I promise you this, there's going to be some massive ad spend on the Turning Point halftime show next year. You can believe that. Who wouldn't want to advertise on the #1 YouTube live stream in history? And by the way, if they had just done the live stream, if they had done the live stream correctly and not allowed it to be streamed on other platforms and just done one single stream, it would be, without a doubt, the single most watched thing in the history of all of YouTube. So, lessons learned, victory at hand. Bad Bunny has now deleted all of his social media. Do you know this? Bad Bunny's deleted everything. He's gone from social media. Does that sound like does that seem like a victory for you? Seem like a victory for you? NFL? So your performer just went completely blackout on all social media, has done zero promotion of this, has done zero defense of his despicable show, and is instead deleting, here's his 51 million Instagram followers, deleting entirely his account. We forced Bad Bunny to delete his account. The meme, the Mozart meme of the guy dropping the music. It's beautiful. Final thing. There's one other spike that is very important, which is the spike in the ICE tip line. People searching for deportations, ICE, denaturalization. These are the trends that we're looking for. So well done, NFL. You were trying to own Trump. You ended up playing yourself. And now people want mass deportations more than ever. Because what you did was you demonstrated to us what the future holds. What the third worldism future holds for us and our nation. And America has rejected it and rejects you. And we got to give them something else. We got to give them the alternative. We got to show people that we can command culture and that we can create a better life for them, that we can preserve the life they already like. So that's what last night was all about, and that's why it mattered so damn much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't get any sleep last night. We were we were up ripping content till late in the evening and then early into the morning hours. And I apologize for being a hair late to the show this morning. We were, again, out here to like own this moment. You have to own the moment. You have to seize the field of battle when it is yours. When you have the opportunity, you must charge, ladies and gentlemen. I charge my bond charge. Mask. Ah, yes, this is called the weave. I charge my Bond Charge mask, ladies and gentlemen. Bond Charge helps me detoxify, ease the stress, and unwind. I look forward to using mine tonight. Bond Charge mask or sauna blanket. It's great for you. The red light is so good for you, especially in these dark winter months. It's still very, very dark. Sun is still setting at 5 o'clock when I leave work. It sucks. I'm trapped in this little black box all day. Anyway, the red light sauna blanket is just spectacular to revitalize you and to bump your energy. You should get one right now. Bond Charge ships all products worldwide. They're HSA and FSA eligible for pre-tax savings of up to 40%. That free shipping and a 12-month warranty should get you over to bondcharge.com today. Go to bondcharge.com/Benny and use the coupon code Benny to save 15%. That's BONCHARGE.com/Benny and use coupon code Benny to save 15%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking percentages. We might as well talk with Mark Mitchell, right? Mark Mitchell is our favorite pollster. Sometimes he brings us good news, sometimes not. But I guess we'll see today. And since we're doing Super Bowl and cultural halftime show themed show, let's go ahead and check in with Mark Mitchell of Rasmussen Reports. Yo, Mark, what up, dude?
Good news, bad news. Why not both? Maybe a little bit.
Why not both? You know what? You know what I want, dude? I want honesty, right? Like, I want honesty. And the numbers don't lie. Our numbers last night at the Turning Point halftime show don't lie, right? So,
yeah, that was impressive.
The numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, congratulations. And I think it shows that there is a very strong cultural movement here. It's not going away. And, you know, the last year, there's been some ups, there's been some downs, but I think people are still desperate to see this thing continue. And so thanks for that optics. I think it's really important. And, you know, hopefully you talk a lot about culture. We poll about it a lot. And some of these things are confusing and contradictory because it's hard to know what America looks like now that we're fragmenting. There's a lot more people here that don't assimilate. People's interests are being sort of like Matt Walsh did a really good segment about how there's no cultural zeitgeist anymore. There's no water cooler shows. We've all been dragged in different directions. And increasingly politics has sort of filled the gap. And Trump won, in my opinion, in 24 because a culture war was won already. And the fact that these retards don't understand that and continue to do these performative, ridiculous shows. I mean, this is the America that by a 2-to-1 margin, 40% to 20% said that they would buy less Bud Light because the Dylan Mulvaney. Have we forgotten that? And is all of America like that? No, but enough of them. Like this is the lightning rod. The lightning rod is if you do performative gay stuff, you're going to get struck by lightning. And that's what happened here. Is all of America against it? No. I mean, 55% of America said that they were going to watch this Super Bowl. That's still a pretty high number. More young people than old people. It's still a cultural milestone. And looking at the party numbers, it was 62% of Democrats and 58% of Republicans. But then you guys got all those people that tune into something else, right? Like that's what it is. And so I think that it shows, you know, there is power. But what is the zeitgeist? And that's what I've been trying to figure out. And I think that this is the most important point right here. It's not a brand anymore. It's not like Disney, for instance. The favorability numbers for Disney poll just like your random national political figure. Isn't that weird? Like something that's brought so much magic to people's lives. It's not really movies anymore. You know, and again, with all this LGBT stuff, it's not really woke anti-LGBT blowback. Like people are actually okay with a lot of stuff in America, but it's like, okay, well, if you're going to have laws that allow transing the minors, then they dig in, right? So it's the egregious stuff they don't like. And what Americans, in my opinion, think is most egregious is in a system that is ridiculous, that has failed, that is wrong. Clown world. We know this. The zeitgeist is people rebelling against clown world. And I think that that's why Trump won. I really do. Because look at the Doge stuff, wildly popular, captured the zeal of the youth. In his inauguration speech, you know, when we were literally banging down the doors of USAID, in his inauguration speech, he promised that this was the golden age of America, and who believed that most was under 40 voters. 56% of them agreed with that statement. And then they saw Doge and his job approval rating got up to 60%. And the bad news here is that his numbers among the young people are just absolutely atrocious now. And people have freaked out over Donald Trump just in the last week or two in a way that's dangerous. Is it like the complete end of his political movement? No, but it's flashing warning signs dangerous. He had a 41% approval rating on Friday. That's the lowest in all of our numbers going back to December of 2017. What did that look like? That was Rachel Maddow talking about tax returns and Russian collusion hoaxes on MSNBC, and everybody was watching like, what's happened? Our president is a Russian asset. We're at those numbers right now when there is not an external exogenous shock like that. This is, in my opinion, people telling Trump, remember why you got in. The system doesn't work, and we need that system attacked. We need that R word. We need retribution. And the under 40 voter now, I just did the numbers. We're releasing them today. 31% right direction, 34% Trump approval with the under 40s. 60 to 34. And I think he could recapture this. This was like the chainsaw to the federal government is what got us there. And I really do. If you look at the graph of comparing all the presidential approval ratings, like very visibly, this is a plunge that kind of mirrors Biden's Afghanistan. And Biden's turned that around to some extent. Like, we have to be realistic that there's things in polling called response bias. Donald Trump was beating Joe Biden during the Afghanistan crisis by like 12 points. And at the end of 2024, had Biden stayed in, it would have been probably about a +4 race. So obviously people rebel. They don't want to answer the polls. They get upset. People are upset right now. But the weird thing is because they want Trump to do more of what he promised and remember what he ran on. And that was the cultural zeitgeist of reforming a broken system. And look at the energy. Look at this is what your halftime show showed people, is that there are a lot of people who will show that rebel against the system. It's like, yep, you know what? Everybody in my house is watching the Super Bowl, but I'm going to make us turn this on because it's important to me. And, we had that. Like, we've done so much polling that shows us this. Has Trump done too much or not enough of what he promised? People say not enough, 2-1, especially the younger people. Half of under 40 voters, half of them say Trump has not done enough of what he promised. It was only like less than 20% who said he's done too much of what he's promised. And I think there's a big question about how. Like, there's people are saying, and this is why I think this movement needs these truths, and they need to be objective about how he's performing so that we can pivot and do this the right way. The ICE stuff, no bueno. It is not good. Bad optics has to get out of the headlines. And I've been saying for weeks, like, the way we went about this was wrong, and it created political friction. America is not a monoculture that wants to see everybody brutally deported. Most Americans want all illegal aliens gone, but shooting protesters in the face with tear gas, like, not good. And so when we look at Minnesota and we see all of this systematic federal fraud, that's what people want attacked, and we made it about ICE. And all of a sudden, even though fundamentally Americans still want illegal aliens gone by a strong majority, they say that ICE tactics are too harsh, and they're increasingly siding with the anti-ICE protesters and not ICE themselves. And so if there's pushback, do you do more of that or do you pivot? Well, no, you go after the businesses, because that's what overwhelmingly people say has to happen. Of course we should use E-Verify. It's almost a 70% position. Of course we should hold people that hire illegal aliens accountable. That's a +20 position. So when Donald Trump is underwater 15 points, but holding businesses who hire illegal aliens accountable is +20, that's a big difference. And then when 76% of America is angry at waste, fraud, and abuse, this is the zeitgeist. Americans, we've talked about this, the level of fear of political violence, the mistrust of the federal government, and the anger at waste, fraud, and abuse. The biggest signal going into the election for Donald Trump was, do we need business as usual in Washington, D.C., or massive change? And massive change won by like 60 points, right? So change a broken system. And if Donald Trump could just focus on that over and over again, people will change the channel from the Super Bowl to watch that happen. They're begging for it. And, people, again, I don't know if you want to go down the rabbit hole, but this Epstein thing is big because the system is broken. This is a signal. People, if you look at the search trend volume, I know you trust the search trend volume like I do. Epstein's been in the news a lot over the last 10, 20 years. He was arrested. He was suicided. He was, the case closed thing with Pam Bondi. Search trend volume for Epstein right now is multiples higher than it's ever been, ever. And if you just compare Olympics to Epstein, yes, Olympics search trend volume is higher, but it's a global sports spectacle. It's a cultural touchstone, and Epstein is getting there. It's getting close. So again, it's like we could say, no, there was nothing there. We could say, no, look at these other things I'm doing, which could be good or could be bad, but they're not systematic reform, because people are discovering very dark things about the system right now. So this is building on the zeitgeist that things need to change. And I think that if Donald Trump were to continue to lean into this idea that we are changing things, because we just had, the Bongino stuff, we had a very good example there about how that tactic didn't work. Trust in the FBI was destroyed. 53% of America said the FBI was Joe Biden's personal Gestapo. FBI lost its favorability rating, positive favorability rating, for the first time in the history of our polling. People like law enforcement. It's obviously a popular thing. And if you're the FBI, the nation's preeminent law enforcement agency, and you lose your positive favorability rating, that's bad. That's really bad. And so Americans wanted restoration of trust. Only 30% trust the federal government. So we took a very trusted figure, Kash Patel. We took a very trusted person, Dan Bongino, and said, okay, we're putting them in these roles. And so old politics would tell you that, okay, well, the Republicans will now trust the FBI because their trusted people are at the head of the FBI. But this isn't new politics anymore. This is the politics where people need the system burned down. And so we just asked a month ago, do you agree or disagree? Federal agencies like the CIA and FBI need major reform. And 83% of Trump voters said yes to that. And so Kash Patel and Dan Bongino, I don't know what they did. Like, objectively, they could have done a lot of stuff. But based on what Americans saw coming out of that and how they processed it, and they voted, they gave a report card, and the report card from Trump voters, from Republicans, was these agencies still need reform. And so that's the crazy thing you're seeing. And it's like, you can't brute force this anymore. Like, Dan Bongino can't brute force this into a successful story. And yet Americans want success. They will turn the channel from the Super Bowl to watch the system be torn down, to watch this rebellion against the parts of it that don't work, that are wrong. The Bad Bunny thing was wrong. And America, basically cuckolded him, is what they did last night, right? And it's like, let's do that to the federal government. Let's do that to the big business special interests that continue to rule our lives and supplant the will of the voter.
This Epstein interest chart, we pulled it up. This is wild, Mark. I mean, I didn't know that it would be like this.
He has to get out in front of this now.
This is the past 5 years. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, you're just going on Google search volume like I am. That is parabolic. I mean, this is more than, so Epstein gets suicided. Epstein getting suicided, I guess, wouldn't be on this because it was in 2019. So we just barely missed it. I don't know if we can go back even further. But
yeah, it's all there.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there you can see Epstein getting suicided right there. You see the spike. This, I mean, I thought that would maybe rival it if you were just asking me off the top of the dome, but not even close. Look at that. So what are we to make of this?
I said it in July. The second those words left her mouth, case closed. We were like, no, like I literally spurred out, went into the field, asked America, and America overwhelmingly agreed, no, the case is not closed. It was 16%, and yet 68% said there are wealthy and powerful predators that still need to go to jail. And it's like, if I wanted to be even a cynical, just political strategy guy, I would have said, you know what? We have an FBI. We could just make this go away by telling everybody the FBI is investigating these folks. And my advice was, get out in front of this, because if you don't, you're handing the Democrats something that's going to hang over you and haunt you for the rest of your political term. And now here we are. And so the messaging needs to change, but it's like, okay, Trump, you're the retribution and change guy. We're draining the swamp. This is America about to realize which side of the fence you're on. You got to pick a side, and it's got to be the side that attacks the system, or it's multiples higher. Everybody saw the optics coming out of that jail, And a majority of America within a month was like, no. Of course he didn't kill himself.
No way.
So America, even back then, was smart enough. Everybody was watching. And now 5 times more people are watching. They're watching this instead of the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. And it's telling us things about our religious leaders. It's telling us things about our heads of state. It's telling us things about our business leaders and the way the people at the top have absolutely no moral compunction about stepping on the little guy. And so this is only going to either make America, I've been using this analogy, and I think it's very helpful. America is a frog in a pot of water on a stove. And for decades, the water was increasing in temperature. And nobody knew why. Why is it getting hotter in here? I don't understand. Why do we keep spending more? Why does China keep getting more powerful? Why does the American middle class keep getting hollowed out? And then Trump came along and said, well, obviously it's because you're in a pot of water on a stove, stupid. There's the dial. I can see it right there. That's what happened in 2016. And then in 2020, people were like, hey, I don't like being in a pot of water. Trump keeps messing with the dial. This is weird here. We need somebody else to turn down the dial. And they voted for Biden, and Biden cranked it to high. He literally just cranked that friggin' dial to high. And we all saw it, the people who had eyes, right? And America said, no, whoa. Well, we need the dial turned down. We only trust one person to do this. And again, 2024, a lot of people love Trump. He expanded his base 100%. But Trump didn't win because of a cult of personality. He won because of blowback for Biden overreach and a referendum on the lack of trust in federal government. That's why Trump won, to turn the dial down. And if Trump says, wait, what dial? I don't understand. That is not the right answer. The right answer needs to be turning the dial down. And so on every one of these major things, you can either increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. And if you look at okay, maybe we're ruled by a bunch of sick, demented, satanic pedophiles, and the system is either going to protect them or not. How do you turn the dial up on that? And how do you turn the dial down on that? And
they turned it up. They turned it up.
And we're getting to the point where we're going to just keep encountering even more egregious opportunities to turn the dial up or down.
Yes.
And it's like even the way he discusses these issues, there's a chance every single time to turn the dial up or to turn the dial down. And so when they say sir, how are you doing on the economy? Okay. The dial up temperature, maybe it's just not touching the dial, is, well, we did a great job and the Dow's at 50,000 and we're going to have the best GDP ever. That's not a dial down answer. A dial down is, well, it's great that the stock market's up, but there's so much more to do. Here are the things we're doing to try and make housing more affordable. And look at what we're doing in the meat industry and blah, 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 right? That's a dial down temperature. That's, hey, we see a vision of the future and we are currently taking action on all of these things. And we might not see success because I think America is past the point where we can all agree that everything's going to be fixed between now and November 2026, right? And so this is about vision, leadership and vision. And this is, again, people will say I'm a black pillar or doomer. I'm trying to offer a carrot because I think the bar is really super low right now. Is that if you look at your average Democrat voter, and most of these people, again, will look at somebody like Mamdani under 40 and be like, yeah, okay, sure. The guy really believes in me and I don't, they say he's a socialist, but we need to change and blah, 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 blah. But then your average Democrat, core Democrat voter, doesn't need their elected representatives to have a vision for the future. And part of that is because they're less objective people. They're voting for the feels, all these things that we know about the left. But part of that is because they're fundamentally winning. They're getting what they want. They're getting an increasingly powerful administrative state. They're getting a corporatist system that can continue to, redistribute wealth from the American taxpayer. They're getting their big government. They're getting their global homo. They're winning. The left is winning, and they're going to win by default unless the system's fixed. Now, the way the right approaches these problems is it says, well, we have these values that have always worked, and they're going to continue to work, and people will someday see eventually that things have gotten bad enough that we can get back to conservatism of decades ago, and that somehow the ghost of Ronald Reagan is going to come in and save us. And that's backward looking, and it's not vision. A vision is based on where we're at now, based on the stimuli, based on the temperature of the water that the frog is in on the stove. What does the future of America look like when Republicans and conservatism wins? And if that isn't believable enough to make people think that the temperature of the pot is going to go down, then the Democrats are going to win because they vote by default. They win by default. And the Republicans need to believe in their elected leaders in order to get that inertia, that momentum. And that's just how it is. They're the low propensity voter now. Trump built a big tent of a lot of first-time voters, a lot of people that, are showing up for the first time because of a referendum on institutional trust.
And Mark, we just talked about this. How like you need to show an alternative. It's not enough to just like sit there and bitch on Twitter about that you don't like Bad Bunny. You have to give people an alternative. You have to give them something else to do. Like you need that. This is why it was so successful. And we've been doing that, by the way. Like that's the core of my business. Is like every time that there's a news story, if it's like the BLM story, I'll make the Kim Klacik ad, right? And if there's like a bunch of left-wing Marxists on campus, we can build Turning Point. And if it's East Palestine, you can go there and you can just hand people cash and like make them feel good. And if there's nothing else to do, then you can just go take it and do an alternative. It's like give, send, go. Every time we do a give, send, go, it's about that. Like that's the point. The point is like to give people who are frustrated and angry an alternate vision so they can feel good and like take that pressure, use that pressure release valve, turn the dial down, as you say. And so, you're exactly right. Like, and you're toast if you can't do that. If you can't present, like how much lamer would this current zeitgeist be right now, today, if we hadn't done that halftime show? If it had just been a bunch of like people saying, wow, like, they can just do this to us. And there's nothing else for us to do. We're going to boycott the NFL, please. Like that. Yeah, I wish NFL fans were strong enough to like to stand up and like say we will burn our gear. We're done with our teams. We're finished here. But until we crack into that, like the best we can possibly do is show the alternative. I mean, I would use this opportunity to call on the NFL fans. Like, how much more of this humiliation ritual can you take? They're doing this to
leadership,
you.
Benny. You're talking about leadership. Like this is leadership, and Donald Trump's the leader of the free world. This is leadership, and it's like angry tweets about this are not leadership anymore. They're not.
No, it's not. It's not. It would be very depressing if all we had was a couple of rage bait tweets from me and Matt Walsh and Jack Posobiec, right? Yeah, and that's what it would have been without the halftime show, and a bunch of people saying, "Wow, maybe we should have made like an alternative halftime show." Like that's what it would have been. But like instead you do it and then this is how you win, right? And so a great example of this, and the last question that I have for you is the SAVE Act. This seems like something that is obviously, we've talked polling before on voter fraud, voter issues, voter ID, and this seems like such a no-brainer. Republicans, however, are so cucked and are such little babies, such children, they can't even get behind like trying to get this done. Although people do love that there's finally a piece of legislation that's getting something done that they wanted and voted for. So where are we at on the SAVE Act? What are the chances of this thing moving?
I'm not behind the doors in Congress, and I don't know what the political calculus is, but I know that obviously, fundamentally, any like core principle that increases accountability and rule of law and fairness in America is going to be overwhelmingly supported by the mass majority of people, as is every election integrity measure. We've covered this with you in the past. Everybody thinks the elections are stolen. Most people think the machines are connected to the internet. Everybody wants voter ID. And it's like, this was the Trump that had the election stolen from him, such that it even changed his movement's news consumption patterns, right? Like everybody dumped cable on November 3rd, 2020. And it's like politically, anything around election integrity is the lowest hanging fruit that Republicans could ever be offered. Vastly bipartisan, the zeitgeist of reforming a broken system. And it's like, if we can't even do this, like, I don't want to be too cynical and black-pilled and stuff about this. Like, there's an aspect of Donald Trump has not been handling the Republican Party correctly and has diluted his endorsement and hasn't been building a pro-MAGA Republican Party like he could have potentially. And that I look at your elected Republican leaders and I say, well, most of them will just ditch MAGA as soon as they can. because they're just looking for whatever like sort of cynical short-term trend that they can hitch their wagon to in order to increase fundraising. And that's negative. But, you know, I try to give Trump like a positive path forward, which is like, hey, like back in November, again, very like the what do we do should not be hard. Brutal, visible government reform and restore the American middle class through economic populism. Like those are the two targets. Very big, very easy to hit at, right? But it's like when you're fighting with your own party, people don't think you're aiming at the target. They think you're shooting somewhere else, right? And so the goal is like, how can Trump partner with the Republican Party in order to like get big wins that don't fix things, everything, right? But that show that there's two hands on that dial turning the temperature down. That's what America wants to see. Trump and Republicans with both hands turning that dial in the correct direction. And this is the biggest and best opportunity. And there has to be a case made. And again, like fighting with the Republicans visibly outside where everybody can see it is not like this stuff with fighting with, like, I want the filibuster nuke just as much as anybody else, if not more. I've been calling for it forever, and I don't care what the Democrats are going to do with it. When you nuke the filibuster and pass the laws Americans want, the point is that then they vote for you again. And so the idea of Democrats using the nuked filibuster against America shouldn't even be part of the discussion. And by bringing it up, you're telling us all like that you're not going to do what we all want you to do, right?
Great point.
But it's like we can't have these fights out in the public. And it's like if there's a conservative at all, if there's a person at all within John Thune and Mike Johnson who care about the future of this country and winning, then they need to get at least one win like this. Just show us you can do it. It's literally like the Shia LaBeouf meme. Like, just do it. Like, and they will be punished 100%. They will be punished. And I'm telling you right now, America is rebelling on Donald Trump. Not because they don't like what he's doing. They want him to do more. And we just saw it, like the numbers out today. When you come out, we just asked, is America going to remember Joe Biden as a good president or as a bad president? And people say bad president, 47-38. But then we say, is Donald Trump better than or worse than Joe Biden? And 56% of America says the same or worse than Joe Biden. And so, again, this is the guy that won with maybe not potentially a mandate, but a mandate for his platform. And every single thing that he's promised is significantly more popular than Donald Trump is. We just have to do that. And I mean, a vision of the future. Fighting with the Republican Party viscerally, visibly in the near term to get long-term wins doesn't paint a compelling vision of the future of Republican conservative governance. That's the catch-22. That's the situation we're in. And that's how Trump's got to figure out how to do that with leadership. And it's like, make that halftime show. Look at Epstein, right? What's the Epstein equivalent of what you guys did with the halftime show? Trump needs to do that now, immediately.
Yeah.
Or he could be like, this is a knife's edge. 41% approval.
Mark Mitchell, who brings good and bad news, but always brings clear eyes to this, and along with, of course, a pedigree of being the most right pollster in all of America. Mark Mitchell, listen to him or not, but at your own peril. You can follow Mark here. Mark, well done. You've seen quite a tick up in following here. 150,000 subscribers on X. The great Mark Mitchell is also a huge Kid Rock fan.
He's pretty great.
Thank you, Mark. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have some other breaking news. It does have Epstein tie-through this week. Expect more news from Jeffrey Epstein this week. He's sitting back and popping popcorn as Ghislaine Maxwell testifies, or you could be eating a masa chip. I'm not sure that this is something that you want to like sit there and watch with your kids or anything, but masa chips is something that I eat with my kids, including at our little family Super Bowl get-together last night. Masa chips are delicious. They're good for you, and they're the best that you can possibly get for your family. I have little kids who, of course, love to snack. It's just made with corn, salt, and beef tallow. So get you some masa chips if you can find them. They come in incredible flavors. Ooh, man. Try the churro chip, like for a dessert chip, and you'll never go back. Ready to give masa a try? Go to masachips.com/Benny. Use promo code Benny for 25% off your first order. Simply click the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code on the screen right now for this delicious offer. 25% off is a great deal. You could also find them at your local Sprouts Market if you can find them. Get a couple bags before they're gone. All right, here we go. Ghislaine Maxwell expected to invoke her Fifth Amendment in congressional deposition. She will be deposing. She won't be a bowl of empty chips. Or maybe she will. Maybe that is what's taking the Fifth Amendment looks like. Also, Bill Clinton trying to renege on going and testifying before Congress. Very unique and interesting. Story here. Let me just grab that. Ghislaine Maxwell pleads the Fifth House Oversight Epstein investigation. So this is supposed to happen today. Let's go ahead and read. This is a breaking article from seconds ago. The congressional investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein hits a latest snag on Monday morning. Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine declined to comment or answer any questions in sworn deposition. That's strange because she sat for days with Todd Blanche, the Deputy Attorney General. Maxwell, now serving a 20-year sentence for her part in Epstein's trafficking scheme, invoked her Fifth Amendment right over video from a prison camp in Texas. This is, by the way, a camp that she was moved to. It's like a luxury camp in Texas. No explanation as to why she was moved there. Months after she'd been subpoenaed by the House Oversight. A copy of Maxwell's lawyer's opening statements obtained by Politico, David Oscar Marcus reiterated the grant of clemency would facilitate her testimony, a power only Donald Trump can bestow. He has not ruled out issuing a pardon. Only she can provide the complete account. Some may not like what she has to hear, but the truth matters, according to Marcus in prepared remarks. For example, both President Trump and President Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. Mrs. Maxwell alone can explain why, and the public is entitled to that explanation. He also noted some of Maxwell's legal proceedings were still ongoing. Democrats accused Maxwell of using the deposition as part of a campaign for clemency from Trump. House Oversight Comer told reporters he did not believe Maxwell should be granted clemency. Unfortunately, she had an opportunity today to answer questions that every American has, questions about what would be important, and she chose to invoke her Fifth. Okay. We'll see what happens next with the Clintons. Bill Clinton here saying that do we have that Clinton tweet? Let's grab it, please. Bill Clinton saying effectively that he's going to walk and he's not going to be testifying. This is a wild thing. So Jamie Comer was on our show last week. Was it Friday? Something like that. Jamie Comer was on our show, and I was like, listen, dude, you're dealing with the scum of them all, Bill Clinton. This dude's not going to testify. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, he was saying we'd put his ass in jail because you'd be in jail. I love Jamie Comer. I'm a big fan of him. But I said, this is what's going to happen. And sure enough, lo and behold, here comes Bill Clinton on February 6th. I have called for the full release of the Epstein files. I've provided sworn statement of what I know. And just this week, I've agreed to appear in person before the committee. But it's not enough for Republicans in the House Oversight Committee. Now Chairman Comer says he wants cameras, but only behind closed doors. Who benefits from that arrangement? It's not Epstein's victims who deserve justice. It's not the public who deserves the truth. It is partisan interests. And it's not fact-finding. It's pure politics. I will not sit idly as they use me as a prop in a closed-door kangaroo court. Republican Party is scared. If they want answers, let's stop the games and do this the right way in a public hearing the American people can see for themselves. Big deep breath here. Do I agree with Bill Clinton on this? This is Jamie Comer's statement. We'll play that in just a second. But just a takeaway from Bill Clinton. I mean, we asked James Comer about this. Why not? Why not just do it in public? Why not? Why not have him talk in public? And then they can answer all the questions. Got all the photos of Bill Clinton, hot tub and all that stuff, and Hillary Clinton, and all the victims and the testimony. Why not? Why not do it in public? Why do it behind closed doors? This and sure, bend your rules. These are the Clintons. He was president for 2 terms. She was the first lady. She was Secretary of State. She ran against Trump. Why not? Bill Clinton's such a scumbag, but he's not wrong here. He's out of line. Right? What's the meme? He's out of line, but he's right. Bill Clinton, this should be in public. James Comer seems like he wants it in public, but here we are. Ladies and gentlemen, I agree with Bill Clinton. Sorry, clip it, clip it. But I agree. Should be in public. Jamie Comer just seconds ago talking about Ghislaine Maxwell. Let's go.
As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the fifth and refused to answer any questions. This is obviously very disappointing. We had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth of the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about.
Okay. Well, shame. Ghislaine is the key to everything. And, you know, look, she's alive. And she had a front row seat to all of it. She was on the plane with the Clintons. She was sitting in Buckingham Palace on the throne with them. She saw it all. She built it all. She's alive. She's literally sitting there. And she did do like a little testimony with Todd Blanche, but it does we a lot of this stuff happens behind closed doors. We need to hear from Ghislaine. I mean, to put all of this to rest, you need to actually have the eyewitnesses explain what was all of this. What was it all? Ladies and gentlemen, we will be locked in for this week, and the rest of this week we'll be actually traveling to DC. And we've been covering this Epstein thing. We've been as honest as humanly possible with Epstein. We've been asking all the questions. Here it is with Jamie Comer. Like, what will happen? Like, why not do a public hearing? We asked. They're moving the goalposts, he says. This is what Jim Jordan did with Jack Smith. They had a deposition with Jack Smith. He wanted to go public after the hearing. If the Clintons do that, they can do that. So, I mean, I'm just saying that you're going to be caught in a little like he said, she said thing here. You should just do a public hearing. You should just do it. Just do the public hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, we will make sure that we are all caffeinated for that. We hope that it happens. The Clintons are calling for it. Like, dude, do it. Like, make it happen. We want to make sure that we are stocked and ready with our blackout coffee. That's, of course, what is in our cup every single morning. Just finished that. It's a long night. Didn't really sleep. Making content, baby. Making sure that we own and seize this cultural moment. 250-year anniversary of the United States of America. Blackout Coffee is celebrating it all year long with brand new roasts. I drink Blackout Coffee every single day. Morning shows, late at night, and travel days. It is what keeps us going. They got something for everyone. The Morning Reaper is their best-selling medium roast that's smooth and never bitter. Brutal Awakening is a bold, dark roast that wakes you up. For 2026, they have the 1776 dark roast, rich and unapologetic, and the 2A medium roast, smooth, balanced, and proudly named after our Second Amendment. Go get yourself some Blackout Coffee. We talk about them a lot. Free shipping and free coffee through their rewards program. Perfect for work, travel, or keeping in the desk go bag. blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Use the code Benny for 20% off your first order. blackoutcoffee.com/Benny. Okay, guys, I need to switch up on the Poly Market, please. I want the Poly Market from this morning's production. I want the Poly Market from the morning production because there's a Poly Market about Bad Bunny. Will Bad Bunny have the most watched halftime show, Super Bowl halftime show? And I want the cratering of this is so hysterical. It's so funny. So you can see that this is why we love going. This is why we love going to Poly Market, because what you're doing is you're simply just seeing like the percentage chance of this happening. Just pop it up. Just throw it up. Here we go. Bad Bunny YouTube becomes the most viewed Super Bowl halftime show in the first month. There was at its height before the show. This was back in January. A 64% chance of this happening. Now it is down to 8%. What's the numbers on YouTube? Okay. All right. So Bad Bunny, ladies and gentlemen, will not have the most watched YouTube. But the betting markets, boy, you could have made, if you just known about it, if you just bet, a lot of people didn't bet on the Turning Point halftime show. You know what I mean? A lot of people thought that it wouldn't be a success. But ladies and gentlemen, it was, And it was a success because of you. And now the chances of Bad Bunny having the most viewed Super Bowl halftime in YouTube has cratered and collapsed beyond repair. It's because we are organized in our life and centered on what is worth fighting for, that we are able to seize these moments and grab the energy and to deliver for you. We do this all because of the power that you give us, and we do it all because of the power that we receive through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and through centering our lives around our faith, our family, and our freedom. It is truly God, family, country for us, and that's what motivates us. I mean, I don't want my kids to have to watch that kind of trash on TV. I want them to be able to see a wholesome halftime show that celebrates our country and Christ. And so that's what we went out and created. Instead of just complaining about it constantly, instead of just griping about it in the comment section, we went out and made it. And so we're humbled by God's grace and the providence of God to be able to do this and to do it marching alongside of you. And thank you for supporting us in this mission. From 2 Corinthians 3:17, now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Oh, beautiful verse for today. March with us unto freedom. Unto freedom, ladies and gentlemen. In the end, we win. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Come on! TV screen, stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade, cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.